Hey friends, today I'm starting 4 varieties of basil and 1 type of Alternanthera from seed indoors. I'll walk you through my process, share tips for strong seedlings, and talk about why these are great additions to the garden. Let's get growing. Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden, and before we dive in, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with a fellow gardening friend. Okay, we are continuing on with more seed starting. We're starting to get to a lot of the seeds that are more for like warmer times of the season. So today we're really going to be focusing on basil. We're also going to do some Alternanthera as well, but mainly basil is my focus. And I like to grow basil because it's really great for, yes, the kitchen, but most of all, I really love to grow it to utilize in cut flower arrangements. Okay, so with that being said, we are going to start 4 varieties of basil, and then we're also going to be starting Purple Prince Alternanthera. And so let me tell you a little bit about that one first. I included it with the basil because I actually think it kind of looks a little bit similar to basil or coleus along those lines. So Alternanthera and basil may look similar in some cases, but they are quite different in many ways. The Alternanthera is mainly used for ornamental landscaping due to its vibrant foliage, while basil is a culinary herb known for its aromatic leaves. And I love basil, and I love growing tons of varieties of basil, and I have several varieties of basil that actually reseed themselves each year, which is really fun. Basil has a strong fragrance and it's commonly used in cooking, whereas Alternanthera is usually not consumed. Alternanthera spreads low and works well in borders, while basil grows upright and is often used in herb gardens or containers. Now, the basil I'm growing for cut flowers, it's going to go in garden beds. The Alternanthera I'm actually growing to be utilized in some of my containers. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the varieties. We'll talk about the Alternanthera first and get that seeded, and then we'll talk about all the basil. So the variety for Alternanthera, I picked it up from Swallowtail Garden Seeds, which is one of my favorite places to purchase seeds. The variety is called Purple Prince, and it is a dark wine purple leaves with hot magenta undersides of the leaves, which are absolutely beautiful, add an eye-catching punch of color to garden beds and containers. They are compact plants with a spreading habit, 10 to 16 inches tall by 18 to 20 inches wide, full to partial sun. They're in an annual except in zones 9 through 11. And so I wanted to go ahead and do these. I see this plant in nurseries all the time, and I always think, oh, I like that, and then I never pick it up because it's similar to coleus and it's similar to basil. So when I saw the opportunity to actually be able to start it from seed, I thought, yeah, this is going to be the time. Makes me feel good. I'm not spending, $7.99 for one, plant. Instead, I spent just a couple of dollars for 10 seeds in here. So we'll be starting all 10 seeds. Okay, so we are going to be utilizing my Amazon seed starting trays, which I love and obsessed with. They are very appropriate for the type of gardening and the size of garden I have. Perfect for the home gardener. So it comes with a set of 12 seed cells and a water reservoir that you just drop your seed cells in. And then it also comes with a lid on top with a dial to adjust humidity. And you typically buy it in sets like 4, 6, 8, and 10 or something like that. I have them listed in my Amazon storefront, which is linked in my bio. And I really like this because it's just really appropriate for the size of garden that I have. Now, the soil we're going to be utilizing today is Burger BM7. Let me get a little bit more up here. It is my favorite soil for seed starting. Had a lot of people asking where I get it. I purchase it from Homegrown Plants in Farmersville, Texas. You can also Google Burger BM7, find the actual burger company and see where they might be selling their products. You can also call your local nurseries and see if they have it for sale as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just start by running the soil over the top, using a couple of fingers to push down a little bit, not too much. We don't want to overly compact it. Nice and simple. I'm just running my hand across the top just to even it all out. All right, let me bring you all in closer so you can see the seeds closer. Actually, let me go ahead and fill this up with the water reservoir up with water. Now I use a dry seed starting method, so I start with dry soil. And then I fill up my water reservoir about 50% of the way, a little bit over 50%. And then I just go ahead and drop my seed cells down in there, and it goes ahead and wicks up all the moisture from the bottom. I found that this works really well for dispersing the moisture evenly throughout the soil. It also helps deal with any air pockets. I don't get as many air pockets. Also, I just find it less messy. So it's what works best for me, but you can do the traditional, like start with the moist soil and then put it in the container, whatever works best for you. Okay, so the Alternanthera is a surface sow seed. So it actually needs light for germination. So we're just literally going to place the seed on the top surface of the soil. And we will not be covering it. And the seeds, as expected, look like soil. Always seems to go that direction. Why can't they all be like red or pink or blue? So I'm actually going to start, since we only have 10 seeds, I'm just going to place one seed in each seed cell for now. Oh, and there were more than 10. There were actually 12 in here. Awesome. And I'm just going to gently press it down into place, making sure that I'm not moving the seed from one container to the next. And we really just want to make sure that the seed has really good contact with the soil so that when the root sprouts, it knows exactly where to go. Just like that. All right, and today is 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, the 19th. So I went ahead and put the date on the day that I'm starting these, just for reference when I do my seedling update, so you all know how long the seedlings have been going. I'm going to go ahead and put a lid on top and make sure that it is closed. Okay, so days to germinate is 7 to 14 days on that Alternanthera. Days to maturity, that means from when it sprouts to when it's like a full mature plant, is 60 to 70 days. We did surface sow and it needs light to germinate, so it will have to go underneath grow lights. And the temp for germination is 70 to 75 degrees. Now, at my house is typically 68 to 72 degrees. However, we are in a deep freeze right now, so it's like 16 degrees outside. So it's a much cooler in my house than typical. So I'm going to go ahead and place this on the heat mat for now, and the heat mat will keep it at a warmer temp, which I think will work really good. I'm excited about that one. Like I said, it's one of those ones that I've been wanting to grow for a while, and I just never pick it up because I never want to spend, the $7 to $8 on the plant. And now if I'm able to grow 12 of them, that would be absolutely amazing to try that out. And I think they're a really good kind of like spiller. They can spill over a little bit on your planters. So I think it'll be really fun to try. Okay, let's shift over to basil. Now, like I said, I grow basil for culinary purposes, but also as cut flowers to go in my arrangements. It also just smells amazing, especially on a warm summer day. You can literally walk through my garden and smell the warm basil. Oh, it's really, really good. Basil can actually be a deterrent for some insects, which is really great. My lemon basil quite frequently reseeds itself every year. And in fact, I grew a whole big patch of basil last year that I allowed to all go to seed, and I only recently cut it back in the winter garden, and I'm hoping that it all reseeded in that location. If it did reseed in that location, then most of these that I started today are just going to go to my friend Kristen, my gardening friend Kristen. She has a lot more space and she loves basil, so I'll just pass these on to her. But I like to grow basil that's a little bit unique, so I typically pick unique colors or textures or things along those lines. So let's go through the varieties that we're going to be growing today. Okay, for the first variety, we're going to grow dark opal purple basil. And I have two of the same. They're from two different companies. One's from M.I. Gardner, and it's an older package of seeds. No, it says packed in 2024, so it's not that old. And then the other one is from Fairy Moores. Yeah, there's still some in there. And I don't see the date on this one. So dark opal basil, purple basil, is grown for decoration and flavor. Its deep purple leaves, dark stems, and lilac flowers are perfect for garnish, pestos, and salad dressings. It's a stunning filler for bouquets, absolutely beautiful. Even when it's blooming, it's beautiful, even though we grow it for the foliage. It's about 18 to 20 inches tall and requires full sun. Okay, next on the list is hands down one of my favorite basils, and it's called cardinal basil. And it's a very cool flower basil that's almost grown for the flower, not just the leaves. So it's a culinary basil with huge, rich purple flower heads, magenta to dark red in color, and a pagoda shape to the flower heads, almost like a panicle type of shape. It's has vibrant purple stems, bright green leaves, beautiful, really good in salads, soups, curries, and many Mexican and Asian dishes. And it's approximately 18 to 24 inches tall. And I actually think it has a little bit of a licorice scent to it. So a nice intense basil licorice. Next on the list, oh, and that particular variety was from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. Okay, next we're going to start with red Reuben basil, and this particular variety is from Burpee. It's an improved variety of the dark opal basil that I was just talking about. So this is the original, and this is one that they've improved on. It is unusually reddish leaves with strong flavor. It has purple flowers and purple copper leaves, are about 3 inches long and nice, and they're like jagged on the ends, which is really cool. And it's about 18 to 24 inches in height. Okay, and then the last variety we're going to start today is Siam Queen Basil, which I feel is like the smaller version of the cardinal basil. So it's very similar, smaller flower heads and a little bit shorter. This particular variety is from M.I. Gardner, and it's an intensely flavored with a licorice basil taste. It has sturdy leaves, Thai basil kind of look, large leaves, purple flowers, and it's about 24 inches in tall. All of these are annuals, and all of these require full sun. And basil definitely does not like any cold weather. So definitely before you plant it outside, make sure you are far past your frost date, because even a little like touch of freezing temps can totally catapult it into death, into a fatality. So it definitely does not like the cold weather. All right, so we're going to start the same process again, and I'm going to do 4 trays. Okay, let's go ahead and fill in the 4 water reservoirs. Once again, we're filling them in a little over 50% of the way. Somebody was asking me the other day if I clean out my water reservoirs and seed cells. I do not. Probably should, but I don't. I'm ready for this cold snap to be over because we're going to be warmer outside. And all these beautiful geraniums and petunias, I'm going to start hardening them off and moving them outside. Now, of course, if we end up having a freeze, I will bring them back in during the freezing cold. But I'm running out of space in here. And a lot of these mature plants need to make their way out. Let me bring you a little bit closer so you can see what the seeds look like. All right, we'll start with the red Reuben. And basil seeds are sown about 1/4 of an inch deep. Let me go ahead and make a hole. So I'm just going to use a seed dauber. I'm just going to come in and I'm going to just make a little hole, barely going into the soil. I think of all the kinds of seeds I do, I really love it when they're surface soaked just because it's so easy. All right, so seeds are really small, and I'm just going to drop a few in each of the holes. And then I'll most likely need to thin out these seedlings. So if I get, maybe all 3 seeds germinate in each hole, then I'll cut back to the seedlings and leave the strongest seedling in place. All right, let me just make sure that that's nice and covered up. I might dust this with just a little bit more. Just like that. All right, next on the list is dark opal. Next up is the Siam Queen. And you can start several rounds of basil if you plan on frequently harvesting. One of the cool things about basil is if you cut and leave a few sets of leaves, it will produce more growth, which is great. But some people harvest the entire plant, just depending on your needs. But basil grows pretty quickly, so you can start multiple rounds. Like I said, it loves the heat. Okay, and then lastly, cardinal basil. And that might be the end of this package. Oh, I still got a few more. Got enough for another round. You see me always running my fingers around the outside rim so that the humidity dome sits nice and flat on it. And now we're going to go ahead and put humidity domes on each of these, making sure that the dial is closed so that we can keep the warmth and the humidity inside until the seeds germinate. And that humidity really helps soften the outer shell of the seed. Okay, 1/4 of an inch deep, so they are covered. They don't necessarily have to have light for germination at this point because they are under the soil. Still just going to go ahead and put them under the lights because it just makes my job easier so that once they do sprout, they immediately have the light that they need. Days to germination is 7 to 14 days, so not very long. Days to maturity is 60 to 80 days, so that's from when it sprouts until when it comes to fruition. It's quite frequently flowering. And then the germination temp is 65 to 75 degrees. They'll germinate faster with the warmer temps, slower with the cooler temps. So I actually need to do a little bit of moving around to make some room. So maybe mess around with that. So I've already got the Alternanthera on there. Maybe we'll do some on the heating mat and some off. Try to make room. I'm starting to run out of room, y'all. Really cannot wait for, oh, that's gonna fall. Really cannot wait for the temps to warm up a touch so that I can move a bunch of these fully grown ones out of here. All of the coleus that I started has sprouted. It's looking really good. I've got eggplants and peppers going. Some eggplants did okay. Didn't have as great a pepper and eggplant germination as I had hoped, but not bad either. The pumpkin on a stick, all of them germinated. They did really well. Okay, so we're good to go. Now, a couple of different things. My grow lights are on 16 hours a day. Your lights need to be on minimum 12 hours a day. 16 is better. And then once your seeds germinate, at least 50% of your seeds germinate, you want to remove the humidity dome and leave it off. And if it's on a heating mat, you want to take it off the heat mat at that point and just make sure you continue to pay attention, water as needed, make sure you apply fertilizer, all that good stuff. You can follow along with me and watch how I'm fertilizing all my seedlings and how I'm potting them up and taking care of them until it's time to plant them outside. Okay? It's so simple. I love it. Once you really figure out, some basic seed starting methods, it's amazing how many things you can start from seed. Or like me, I still felt delphinium quite frequently. I felt nasturtium still has not germinated. So the soaking and the clipping apparently didn't help. So we'll see yet another year of failing on nasturtium. Eventually I'll get there. A lot of y'all said I need to just direct seed it outside. So we might do that once we're past our last frost. I might just direct seed some of them outside and see how that goes. That might be super helpful. But really excited to get all these varieties done today. Basil is an excellent place to start when seed starting. So if you want pretty much a sure thing, you can go ahead and start with basil seeds. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you're still starting from seed. We are starting to get to the time where all my northern gardeners are kicking into action. And you guys are all starting all your seed now. A lot of y'all started mid-February, so I'll be very excited to hear what all you all are doing at this point in time. Southern gardeners, I've been starting seeds since December, so we've been starting for a while. So I'm really excited to hear what my northern friends are up to. As always, make sure you like and comment on this video. Every time you like and comment, it helps grow the video so much. And if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, just drop me an emoji below, letting me know that you made it to the end of the video and that you say hi. And be sure to check me out on my social media outlets, including Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You can also find me on Patreon, and I apologize, I have not been putting the link in the video, so starting now, the Patreon link will be in the video description. And basically, it's an online community. There's a free option, but there are also paid tiers that you can join that give you greater access to content. But it's basically where I'm doing all my social media stuff. I'm posting there on a daily basis. I'm talking about what's going on in my garden. We get to share pictures. We set up chats. We talk about our seed starting, our issues. We share, it's really great. And then like the top tier gets bonus videos, a couple of 2 to 3 bonus videos per month. It's really fun. So be sure to go check that out as well. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.